Hello everybody and welcome to a spoiler roundup here. We are working our way through Core 2026 and at this point now a good chunk of the cards have been spoiled. We are in the middle of Rogue Week at the time that I am recording this video, so we got a bunch of Rogue spoilers to talk about here. And actually you can obviously see on this page right now we have two old cards returning here that we're going to talk about first to kind of start up this video. It is one of those things that if you have played Arkham back in the day, especially with the original core set, you are probably quite aware of how bad the Rogue core was back when it first released. It became better with the revised core. I'm going to just say that right now. People who are saying like the core for revised was bad, it is still bad, but it is much better than the original core we had. Even just having lockpicks did a really good job of giving rogues something to actually do with their time to get clues. But already right now it's looking a lot nicer with just what we have here, but we're going to talk about the cards. And Javier Alban, thank you so much for 14 months of the Golden Table with your Twitch Prime. Much appreciated. Alright, I'm going to just go in order from top to bottom for these two cards because they're both here and there's not really a surprise. But the first one we got here is Thieves Kit. This is a 3-cost asset from, I believe, originally Scarlet Keys. Item tool illicit, uses 6 supplies as an action. Spend 1 supply, investigate book or foot. If you succeed, gain 1 resource. This is actually, I think, a really nice tool for rogues to have at level 0. I'm hoping pretty soon we get the upgrade version, because while the upgrade version is it feels a little bit bad to spend 3 experience on, I think it's actually a very good upgrade for rogues to have to just make them a little bit more consistent. With Trish right now, she's kind of had a little bit of an issue where she doesn't really care too much about using book or foot, because if you don't know Trish, they're the same number for those things. But what it does do is allows her to change what card she wants to commit at the time, or if she has a book or a foot boost just passively, it allows her to then choose whichever one is better for her in the moment, which is actually a really nice thing. When your cards give you choices, that's really good. Thieves Kit has been played, and I imagine it's going to be continued to be played. I think that this is just a very nice card to have here in the core set for Rogue. Would I rather have had lockpicks? Yeah, but that's just because I'm boring and I think lockpicks is just like very good. But Thieves Kit is a very nice addition to the current pool to just kind of always be evergreen, or at least be evergreen for the foreseeable future. Another card, a staple that is returning here, is Lucky Cigarette Case. Lucky Cigarette Case, if you don't know what this card is, let me tell you, you're going to be playing it. 2-cost asset, takes up the accessory slot. Item Charm. As a reaction, after you succeeded a skill test by 2 or more, exhaust it, draw 1 card. This card here is just it's a staple of the Rogue class. It has been since it released in the Forgotten Age, and it got a reprint in the Winifred Habimuk Starter Deck. Oh yeah, you can see them right here. All the stuff right there, all the times that it's been reprinted. This card is just a workhorse. It just rounds out your deck, your kit, your economy. It gives you value for winning the game, which is really good. That's the best place to find though that value. And it does a lot to support the succeed by X or more archetype that the Rogue has, that they've unfortunately kind of lost over the years, but I hope they kind of go back hard into it. I think that would be really cool. This card is it has some slight problems where it kind of eats the accessory slot a little bit. It's a very competitive card because the value is just kind of free. Because it only costs 2, and it has a brain icon too, which is also a relevant symbol for committing. And I think that that's not necessarily a bad thing, because I think it is just so so foundational to having like rogues have this piece of consistency that I think makes them really strong. I hope they also, I agree, Sun Prayer, I hope they don't reprint level 3, because I think that would be problematic. And also, shout out, there was a person in my Discord who theorized that we would not see any more alcohol, cigarettes, or drugs in Core 2026, and I got bad news for you, buddy. You were, you were doomsaying for no reason. It looks like we can still smoke in Arkham in 2026. So, thank God for that. All right. Next card we got here is Decisive Strike. This is a 2-cost, 2-experience event. It's a tactic and a gambit. Fight. You get +2 fist and deal +1 damage for this attack. If this attack defeats an enemy, gain 5 resources. I think that this card is very nice. I don't think it's a staple by any means, but I think that if you are a 3 fist or higher rogue, or you have ways to boost your fist to be higher consistently, like say for example, committing cards or stat boosts through other means, I think the Decisive Strike is a very easy card to put into your deck. Something that I've often said in my videos is that if a card gives you something for winning the game, whether that be by eliminating enemies or discovering clues, the value of that card goes way up, right? And especially when it gives you at a rate of actually hitting the +1 damage for this attack. Because this is very similar to Clean Them Out, which is a level 0 Guardian card that you do a basic fight action, you get 2 resources when you start the action. That card isn't played too much. It's really only played in Nat Cho and Marian Tavares. And other people don't really touch it. And I think a big reason for that is just that the having only 1 damage is a lot more relevant than it appears at first glance. And I think that this card being the +1 damage, so it actually can kill something, like it can be the second attack to kill a 4 health enemy, it can be the second attack to kill a 3 health enemy, it can be the first attack to kill a 2 health enemy, is a lot more relevant for what this card is capable of. Additionally, with the resources for this card, you don't look at these resources necessarily as your economy. This is not an economy card. You're not putting this card into your deck to gain resources to play cards that you need to play now. You are putting this card into your deck to support the shift that your deck takes halfway through the scenario. When you are done playing assets and now you're playing the events in your hand, this is where Decisive Strike is really good, because it allows you to kill an enemy. It allows you to gain 3 resources because it costs 2 to put down to play the card. And then you get those resources to play the next cards that you want to be playing to get ahead and keep doing those events in the second half of your Arkham scenario. The 2 experience cost does feel a little bit high for Legacy, but I think for current and Chapter 2, I think this is I think it's a very fair card for the power level that they are kind of dictating here for it. Would I have loved this to be +2 fist and deal +2 damage? Yes, I would have loved that. That would have been insane, and I would have played this card in almost every deck I could going forward. But it's probably fine just how it is here. But I think this is a very good card, and the main reason for that again is that if you're doing something for advancing the game and getting paid for it or getting cards for it, that's really nice. Now, I've also seen some people talk about how this card is weird in the core set because it doesn't work for both Trish and Dexter, which we assume Dexter is going to be in the core set and be the, well, we know Dexter's in the core set, but we assume he's going to be the 05 Mystic, 02 Rogue. We assume that's because it's kind of like the only color combination that's left. And I think that is a fair observation if you don't scratch the surface of that observation. Because while, yes, it's weird that Dexter and Trish can't use this card. I've seen people even say that it's going to make new players angry that they can't play this card in Dexter or Trish. But let me tell you, new players don't think like that. They think, I can use this card. I'll be up 2 and I'll be okay. They're not thinking like us fucking fiends who overthink everything and overanalyze everything because we've had so much burden of knowledge put on us because of how much we've played this game. But I think ultimately making sure that every card in your core set can only be played with the investigators in the core set, or should only can be playable with the investigators in the core set, leads to a less healthy core set down the road, right? So let's just say, for example, this card didn't exist and it was released in a chapter, like in a cycle instead. When that cycle rotated out, fighters in the future lose this card, but from now on, any rogue fighter with 3 or more fists has Decisive Strike that they can lean on, that they're able to make work, right? So now it's like always in the core set, and it's always available to fighters or rogue splash that are able to take advantage of it. And I think that that is ultimately healthier. In my core comparison series, I talked about how Old Book of Lore is a very powerful card, but I think it's actually a wasted space in the core set because it's only really usable in Daisy Walker. And I feel like if we had just like some sort of card that Trish was able to use and was just like generically good in Trish, but like I think it would lead to just like a less healthy core set experience going forward when we're looking for a good foundation to build off of, lest we get a core set where we're looking at rogue cards that it's like, why do I want to play this? And I think Decisive Strike, we see why we want to play this. So I think ultimately it's fine. Again, I understand why people have that thought when you look at it like it's just like scratching the surface. But I think if you go a bit deeper, it would have been a mistake to... not that it would have been a mistake to do that, but I think that it's better that Decisive Strike is here, in my opinion. And also, rogues... People don't know this because of how rogues have been focused so much recently, but rogues were so Guardians and Seekers were very focused on what they were doing, but rogues, Mystic, and Survivors were all kind of the flex class. And I think that that's something that they should kind of lean on going back, looking in this, because recently, like, Survivors became very clue focused, rogues became very enemy focused, and I think that like they having that balance in the core set might lead to better design with that going forward as well. All right, we now have these 2 Out of Sight cards. So these are the skill cards that we have here. So Out of Sight level 0, it's a practice skill, commits for a foot, max 1 committed per skill test. If this test is successful by 2 or more, the performing investigator may disengage from each enemy and move to a revealed connecting location. And then we have the upgraded version, which is 3 XP, max 1 committed per skill test. If this test is successful by 1 or more, the performing investigator may disengage from each enemy and move to a revealed location up to 2 connections away. Okay, so these are kind of like Survival Instinct, and they're kind of like Nimble for how we look at this in here. Survival Instinct, I think, is a fine card, and I think it's like it's a good piece in some decks. It's better in some campaigns, and I think that Nimble is a very good card, but I don't think this is Nimble. Like, it's like this has a lot of restrictions where it's only 1 location. It has to be a revealed location, and this one's up to 2 away and revealed. Like, don't knock, like just be very aware that the revealed location actually matters a lot more than you think, because most of the time you want to be going forward in an Arkham Horror scenario, not backwards. And revealed locations generally are backwards, and unrevealed locations are generally forwards. This is not always the case for this, but it's just something to consider when you are looking at the evaluation of these cards. Do I think these cards are playable? I think the level 0 version is very playable. Being able to just like get some free actions out of this, right? Like you can use it on a Thieves Kit if you did want to. If you wanted to like get attacked. I think the better use is with the hammerless, right? Like you can use it with the hammerless to shoot an enemy and then like run away from it, right? Like from a boss, right? You can get some space to kind of just set up if you need to. But I think generally this is a weird card. I think it's generally just a weird card where the old Arkham head in me is kind of looking at this in the vacuum that the original core set was in, right? Where evading enemies is generally not the best way of doing it. So I'm very curious to see how much this impacts the collection when you have when it's a smaller collection and you want to be about like killing enemies. Like maybe enemies have more health, right? So like you have to take some time. But this is only disengaged from each enemy, right? Like it doesn't exhaust. There's not like this could have been a mass exhaust and it probably would have been okay. I think that that would have been like nicer, because I think like the 3 experience and 3 icons is not necessarily too exciting. But I think the card is still like I said, I think the level 0 version is going to be played. I'm very curious to see how the level 3 version is played. I don't like the rogue pool so far. It relies too heavily on Trish's evade action. What, you mean these 2 cards? I mean, I know there's also the pickpocketing variant, which we're going to talk about right away, but I don't know. I don't think it leans. I mean, I think it leans heavily on the idea of rogues liking to evade. They're going very hard. Plus the card of today. Oh, I haven't seen that card, so stick it in your sack, you fucking loser. Sticking Fingers, 1 cost asset, limit 1 per investigator. As a reaction, if you successfully evade an enemy, exhaust Sticky Fingers, gain 1 resource. And we have an upgraded version as well, 1 cost 2 experience, fast, limit 1 per investigator. If you successfully evade an enemy, exhaust Sticky Fingers, and gain 1 resource. So this thing is pickpocketing. This is pickpocketing, but slightly less crazy. I need to look at pickpocketing just because I've only really played the level, the level 2 version a while. So this one's just draw a card. And then this one is draw a card, gain a resource. Succeed by 2, do both. Okay, this is interesting, right? Because I think that, well, 1, pickpocketing 2 was crazy. Like, this card is insanely powerful. Sticky Fingers 2 is a lot less powerful than pickpocketing, because the only difference for this one is just that it's fast, right? Fast, so this one's actually successfully evade an enemy, gain 1 resource. As you successfully evade an enemy, exhaust it, gain 1 resource. Fast and more icons. I mean, I think that is more relevant, because if we look at the pickpocketing right here, it's... You're gonna just play this card. You're gonna want 2 pickpocketing, so that is a more relevant change. I mean, I think you'd play it in any rogue that wants to evade in current. Do I think you're going to play it in legacy? I mean, yeah, there's going to be people where it's playable in legacy and you get like Sticky Fingers and pickpocket in play, and then you evade an enemy, you draw a card, gain 2 resources. Like, that is pretty good, right? You could probably run Sticky Fingers as a 1-of in legacy. I think in current, it's still going to be a fine economy engine in rogues who want to evade. And let me tell you, there's signposts in here that rogues are going to want to evade, and I'm pretty sure Andre Patel is going to be like a skill-based evading rogue. I think Andre Patel is going to have a stat line very similar to Winifred Habamuk. I think he's going to be foot first, but he's going to be flexible. But he's going to care more about... I think he's going to be skill-focused as well, because the original Andre was. But who knows? They do a lot of crazy things here with their... with their investigators that just seem to like buck the trend a little bit, which is good, so that's good. Sticky Fingers, I mean, I think it's fine. Like, I think the level 0 version, again, it's fine economy. The fast this is not a priority upgrade, but it's like a nice upgrade. The foot icon makes more sense. It's not pickpocketing 2. And honestly, like, thank God it's not pickpocketing 2. That would probably be a little bit rough. Also, like, the art's actually been pretty good on the rogue stuff. This Decisive Strike one is very good. This Peter Polak guy, he did a very good piece. But as we can see, at least halfway through Rogue season, I know people are saying there are cards spoiled for the that were spoiled today, but I'm not going to be talking about them today because they are not here. So I'm going to be talking about them in the next spoiler roundup to close out Rogue Week, when we also get a look at Trisha's signatures. So you can look forward to that next Sunday. But I think overall here, this is a good foundation for the Rogue class. I mean, just having like these 5 cards, Decisive Strike, Olivier, Lucky Cigarette Case, the Hammerless, and the Thieves Kit, is a really good foundation for rogues to build with. And I think that this is already looking much nicer than Rogue Core. Not that that was that hard. I think that, like, I think a big thing also with Sticky Fingers is I would have preferred if the upgrades for the rogues weren't just level 0 upgrades. I know, like, every class is getting some upgrades to their cards, but I feel like it's a little bit more interesting to get new cards, if that makes sense, right? It's just like a little, you can do more, get like a bigger support system for the class if they have like more options as they're upgrading. But I think overall, this is looking pretty good to start off Rogue Week, and I'm excited to see what the last few cards are. In the meantime, thanks for watching, everybody. As I mentioned, I'll be back to finish up the Rogue Week wrap-up next Sunday, so you can check out that. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching. Have a good one, and as always, a GG's.